Hello everyone, I'm Wenjia, working at the Chemicals and Health branch within UNEP. Our job is to bring the material developed by UNEP on sound management of chemicals and waste countries in order to assist multi-stakeholders to embrace better chemicals and waste management and in turn decrease risks to human health and the environment. We are happy to be invited by Jen. My colleagues and I will give a presentation on chemicals in cosmetics based upon our research result and work over the past few years. We're going to share the latest trends on chemicals usage in cosmetics, pick up some typical chemicals and the groups of chemicals, analyze their effects on health and environment. We will also share some thoughts about what efforts you may make. We are counting on you. Hope you all like it. Here we go. Global Chemicals Outlook is a flagship report developed by UNEP at the request of the UN Environment Assembly. It assesses global trends, progress made to date, and the remaining gaps if we are to achieve the global goal of minimizing adverse impacts from chemicals waste. Cosmetics and personal care products are among the most chemical-intensive products on the commercial market. Global Chemicals Outlook 2 reviews that as global income level rise and the global middle class expands, increasing demand is created for a range of goods and products for which chemistry is essential. The cosmetics industry is growing rapidly, affecting market demand for chemicals and creating both risks and opportunities. For instance, the market for personal care products has exploded, with billions of items sold each year. Financially speaking, the sector has a chemical revenue of $20 billion and an end market size of $225 billion. Rising demand for cosmetics products is also driving the inorganic chemicals market. Green sustainability, new patterns of consumption, demographic changes, and human health are four megatrends that are likely to have a significant impact on this sector. It is estimated that over 5,000 chemicals ingredients are used in the personal care industry, including a number of chemicals of concern. Examples of chemicals in products include, for example, microbeads in toothpaste, or antimicrobials, for example, triclosan, and in soap. Personal care products and household cleaners contain many chemical compounds of distinct composition as a function of the brand identity, regulatory requirements, and their target consumers, yet they all fulfill the same function. Now I'm going to talk about the potential exposure. Imagine that you are applying some skin cream to your face. Chemicals in personal care products are directly released during normal use through dermal contact. Inhalation and dermal permeation result from volatilization of the aqueous solution on the skin surface. As a user, this process will result in you inhaling chemicals. Thus, when you hug your baby, she or he might also be breathing the same chemicals. Or if she or he is a very affectionate baby, they might be licking or kissing your face, and children can be exposed through direct contact with chemicals while mouthing. Of course, if you apply a lipstick, you also face the same exposure. Now let's move to the bathroom. Imagine that you come back home and then you want to wash your face. In order to eliminate blackheads, you are likely to use a specific cleaning foam with microbeads. When you wash your face, the microbeads will be flushed into the municipal wastewater facilities and then go into groundwater, fish, and other food items, and potentially reach the general population. Meanwhile, breathing ambient air affected by air freshener is also considered one of the environmental mediated pathways. When you have finished a cream, you will throw it in a bin, and then these bottles will go to landfill, and sometimes leftover hazardous chemicals go into the soil, water, and then finally enter the food system. I almost forgot to mention the manufacturing process. Workers also face inhalation exposure, and when the factory emits wastewater, some hazardous chemicals will also be released, which is a sort of environmental exposure.
2020, an assessment report on issue of concern was released on response to the United Nations Environmental Assembly and to inform the international community about the current situation of specific issues of concerns based on a review of evidence published within the past decade. For example, we have some issue of concern and emergency policy issues, eight that were identified under SciComm, and the GCO-II recently identified 11 chemicals or group of chemicals where emergent evidence indicates a risk. Here we have some example of these issues that were identified, and in the several of these chemicals, may be found in cosmetics. In the next slides, we're going to focus on few examples of them. For example, in endocrine disruptor chemicals, lead, and for example, mercury also that is covered under the Minamata Convention. The endocrine system is a collection of glands that produce hormones. Hormones regulate our metabolism, how we grow and develop. Endocrine disruptor chemicals and potential EDCs might interfere with this hormonal and with their function. That brings us to the definition of IPCS that include UNEP, WHO, and ILO, that in 2002 defined an EDC, a potential EDC, as an exogenous substance or mixture that alters function of the endocrine system or may alter function and consequently may or cause adverse health effects in an intact organism or its progeny or subpopulation or population. People are exposed in daily life in four main ways: things we buy, things we grow, place we work and live, things we make. Things we buy include clothing, bedding, personal care products, cosmetics, and all these can contain EDCs. In cosmetics, for example, EDCs are included as fixatives, dye, preservatives, UV filters, solvent, fragrance, for example, triclosan and parabens that are preservative and antimicrobial. Phthalates are solvents, and benzophenols are UV filters. More information about EDCs and potential EDCs can be found in our web page, where are include all these brochure, infographic, and the state-of-the-art report in 2002 and 2012, and the 2017 overview report with a review of existing initiatives to identify EDCs, scientific knowledge of the life cycle, and legislation.
Lead compounds are known to enhance the color when included in products. This is, for instance, the case for paint or spices, but also cosmetic and dye. You have two examples of this on the screen. One of the most widely products containing lead in cosmetics is coal. In some of the coal analyzed, up to 1/2 of the chemical composition is lead sulfates, and coal is also used widely, so you can imagine the problem. To address this issue, work is needed on legislation and policy to eliminate lead compound in products, including cosmetics.
Another example of a heavy metal that may be found in cosmetics is actually mercury. Mercury is highly toxic to human health and the environment and is actually considered by WHO one of the top 10 chemicals of major public health concern. Mercury harms the nervous system, the heart, the kidney, and other systems of the body, and children, infants, fetuses are particularly at risk because of their developing systems. Mercury is used in different processes and can also be found in certain products, including certain cosmetics. It can be used, for example, in mascara because of its preservative properties. And it is also a common but harmful ingredient of many skin lightening products, creams and soaps, because inorganic mercury is highly effective in actually blocking melanin producing function. Skin lightening creams and soaps are used all around the world by men and women to lighten the color of the skin, and it's also used to for fading freckles, blemishes, age spots, and also for acne, in particular by adolescents. Such products are easily available. They are for sale on the internet, promoted online on social media, and also sold through mobile apps. And the global skin lightening industry is actually one of the fastest growing beauty industry worldwide, estimated to be worth over $30 billion in 2024. So mercury used in these products not only affects the person using it, but also possibly others, including babies and children who may be entering in contact with the skin to which the product has been applied. At the global level, the international community adopted in 2013 the Minamata Convention to protect human health and the environment from mercury. And today, over 130 parties are required to phase out the manufacture, import, and export of a number of mercury-added products, including cosmetics with mercury content above 1 ppm, and these include skin lightening soaps and creams. To support global action on mercury, 15 years ago, the UNEP Global Mercury Partnership was initiated, and the partnership currently focuses on supporting the implementation of the convention, on providing knowledge and science on mercury, and also on delivering outreach and awareness raising. And to know more about the issue of mercury in skin lightening products, you may be interested in the resources shared at a recent information sharing session by the partnership in cooperation with WHO and partners, and for which you can find the web link on this presentation. To conclude, we'd like to share with you some thinking in terms of elements of a supportive enabling environment for action. First, beyond regulation, amongst the enablers and drivers for change that have been identified in recent UNEP's work, one should highlight the importance of consumers' demand, as well as green and sustainable chemistry education and innovation. These can be supported through enabling policies, and eco-innovation, for example, can allow avoiding regrettable substitution. Another important aspect is just sharing of information on chemicals along the value chain to make sure that all the relevant actors at the production, but also distribution, use, and end-of-life stages do have access on chemicals. And in that sense, in many parts of the world, it has become mandatory through labeling of ingredient lists to actually communicate chemicals used in cosmetics and in personal care products. And a number of tools have been developed, such as online databases and applications for consumers to understand these chemicals. And such efforts must be further enhanced and supported to allow informed choices by consumers through information that is accessible, reliable, and also understandable. UNEP is supporting the Chemicals in Products program, which aims to improve the exchange of information on chemicals in products and propose cooperative action. At the global level, as was discussed previously, a number of issues of concern where emerging evidence indicates a risk have been identified in the context of SciChem, and more recently by the Global Chemicals Outlook 2, by multi-stakeholder processes. Some of these may be found in cosmetics, and for instance, in the case of microplastics, actions have been taken to limit their use in cosmetics and in personal care products. Overall, attention and action are often limited, and progress across countries and regions have been uneven, hence a call for further international concerted action. Finally, in 2019, the United Nations Environment Assembly, which is the world's highest level decision-making body on the environment, stressed the urgent need to actually strengthen the science policy interface to support and promote science-based action on the sound management of chemicals and waste. And this important topic will be discussed further in 2022 at the 5th UN Environment Assembly. Finally, you can find on this slide a number of references with the links to resources and platforms that we've been discussing in this presentation. Thank you.